Weddings are funny things. They're supposed to be this once-in-a-lifetime moment, the perfect celebration of love, loyalty, and lifelong commitment. But all I kept thinking about on our wedding day, standing on a hilltop in Tuscany, sweating through a $2,000 linen suit while our officiant mispronounced my last name, was how forced everything felt. Like we were posing for a love story neither of us actually wrote. I figured it was just nerves, jet lag, altitude. Whatever excuse you tell yourself when your gut is quietly screaming and you're too polite to ask why. No? I know what I was feeling. Rot. Deep, hidden, perfectly manicured rot. And the photographer? Yeah, he was the one planting it. Let's rewind. Her name's Taylor. And for about 3 years, I was dumb enough to believe I was her whole world. We met through mutual friends. The you guys would be perfect together setup that somehow worked. She was magnetic in the way insecure people often are. Always moving. Always charming. Always performing. And me? I was stable. Quiet. Tech consultant. The guy who paid for dinner and remembered anniversaries. She called me her anchor, like it was a compliment. It wasn't. It was a warning. Anchors are heavy. She wanted something light. Enter Luca, our wedding photographer. Italian, of course. Handsome in that overgelled, too tight shirt kind of way. The kind of guy who says things like Bella loose, while angling you into poses that feel just a little too intimate. At first, I brushed it off. He was a pro. We were paying him obscene money to make us look like a Pinterest board. Let him flirt with the lens. Who cares? Turns out, he wasn't flirting with the lens. He was flirting with my wife. And she was flirting back. I didn't figure it out until we got home. Post-wedding, Taylor was glowing, but not in the way I expected. She was always on her phone, always tagging photos, always editing things she said didn't look quite right. She insisted we not use the wedding planner's shared drive for the final gallery and instead wanted the raw files from Luca for backup. Suspicious? Maybe. But I was exhausted. Jet lag, inbox explosion, client calls stacked to the ceiling. I didn't care about hashtags or Lightroom filters. I just wanted a return to normal. But normal wasn't on the menu. What was? A metadata rabbit hole that led straight into hell. It started with a tag. Instagram. She posted a photo of us at sunset, classic silhouette shot. Her in that ivory lace dress that cost more than my car insurance. But what caught my eye was the comment under it. Luca really captured the moment. Face-blowing kiss. I clicked his profile. A few wedding shots. Some artistic stuff. And then, a photo of Taylor. Not from the ceremony. Not from the reception. From his hotel balcony. At night. Caption, golden hour, stolen smile. My stomach turned. I opened the raw photo set Luca had sent us, buried deep in a folder called Alt Edits. Inside were dozens of photos I'd never seen. Candids. Close-ups. And then, a series from the night before the wedding. Taylor in a white robe. Champagne in hand. Sitting on the edge of a hotel bed, laughing. Alone? No. I zoomed in. Luca's watch. In the mirror behind her. Same band. Same face. Same smug TikTok reminder that time's never on your side when you're being played. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Instead, I did what I do best. Research. I checked the photo metadata. Timestamped. GPS tagged. Everything screamed private session. I traced the EXIF data back to a hidden file cache Luca hadn't scrubbed clean. And that's where I hit gold. The final nail? A short video. Low-res, shaky, clearly handheld. Taylor. In the robe. Whispering something I couldn't hear until I boosted the audio in Audacity. Just promise me no one will find out. Boom. Right there. Wedding week. Night before vows. Promise me. Not, I love you. Not, be with me. Just don't get caught. I didn't rage. Didn't throw my laptop. Didn't scream into the void. I sat still. Let it burn. Then I opened a spreadsheet. Guest list. Contact info. Addresses. If they wanted a performance? They were about to get an encore. The next week, I went to a local print shop. Expensive one. The kind that does wedding albums for rich families with no taste. I handed them a drive. Said I wanted 50 hardbound books. Each one identical. Title, The Real Wedding Album. Inside, not the ceremony. Not the kiss. Not the cake cutting. Just the alt edits. Every private photo. Every mirror reflection. Every time-stamped, wine-stained receipt of betrayal. The final page? A scanned image of our annulment paperwork. Stamped. Signed. Dated. And on the last line, postcard enclosed. Please mail back your RSVP for Taylor's next marriage, assuming she doesn't sleep with the officiant. It was cruel. It was petty. And it was perfect. I mailed them to everyone. Her family. My family. College friends. Work friends. Her ex-roommates. The couple we met on our honeymoon who she swore we'd stay besties with. No explanation. No warning. Just the truth. Wrapped in glossy pages and white-laced schadenfreude. She found out 3 days later. Called me 27 times. Texted things like, "You're insane," and "This is harassment," and "We can fix this." Fix? The only thing I was fixing was her reputation, permanently, in full color, on page 43. She never got the album. I kept hers. Burned it. Then framed the ashes. When Taylor finally realized what I'd done, she didn't call to apologize. She called to scream. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "It wasn't what it looked like." Not even, "Can we talk?" Nope. Straight to rage. 0 to nuclear. "You are a psycho. Do you know how humiliating this is?" I didn't answer. Just put the phone on speaker and let it sit on the counter while I poured coffee. She kept going. "My parents are calling me nonstop. Maya thinks I'm some kind of," she broke off, probably choking on whatever term she couldn't bring herself to say. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Actually, yeah, I did. I'd taken the one thing she cared about, perception, and shattered it like a champagne flute hitting marble. I didn't need revenge. I needed clarity. And now, everyone had it. That call ended with her threatening legal action, a restraining order, and a lawsuit for emotional distress. I told her, "You should sue your conscience first. It's got a better case." Then I hung up. No yelling. No back and forth. Just click. Clean. Permanent. Like closing a tab that's been running in the background for years, draining your battery without ever doing anything useful. The fallout was as glorious as it was quiet. She went full lockdown on social media. Deleted photos, changed handles, even tried to rebrand her image with a new last name. Hers, not mine, of course. It didn't work. Because people talk. And nothing spreads faster than scandal wrapped in wedding lace. Her cousin posted a TikTok unboxing the album. Went viral. No face shown. No names dropped. Just a flip-through of page after page of the real wedding. The internet ate it up. Some called it fake. Others said it was staged. But the ones who mattered? They knew. And Taylor? She was finished. Not in some dramatic, career-ruining kind of way. She didn't lose her job or move to another country. No, it was slower. More surgical. She became forgettable. A woman whose name used to come up at brunch, now replaced by silence. The kind of person people avoid eye contact with at reunions, not because they're angry, but because they don't care anymore. She burned the bridge. I just lit the match. Luca, though? Luca wasn't so lucky. See, I figured something out pretty quickly once I had the metadata, the hidden cache, and that short video clip. Luca wasn't just the photographer. He was the one who documented his own affair, labeled it alt edits, and sent it directly to the groom like it was some kind of cinematic Easter egg. Stupid? Sure. But poetic, too. Because photographers live on reputation. And Luca's was about to be pixelated into oblivion. I uploaded the full portfolio to a private drive and sent it, anonymously, to the wedding industry forums his name was plastered all over. Then I sent one more package. To his wife. Oh yeah, surprise. Luca was married. Name, Alina. Occupation, boudoir photographer. Lives in Milan. 2 kids. One husband with a wandering lens. I printed the stills. Wrapped them in thick, cream-colored paper. Tied it with twine. Classy. Included a thumb drive labeled behind the scenes. No note. No explanation. Didn't need one. A week later, Luca's website went dark. His studio's Instagram vanished. And Alina? She went very public. Filed a civil suit for defamation, adultery, and public humiliation. Named both him and Taylor. The suit made it into Italian tabloid blogs, those greasy, over-zoomed websites that love stories involving Americans behaving badly on foreign soil. Taylor emailed me the day it hit. Subject line, "You ruined my life." I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, "No, you ruined your own. I just printed the photos." There was one more album I made. One I never mailed. One I kept for myself. Not to relive the pain. I'm not sentimental like that. It's more like a dossier. A cautionary tale. A hardbound reminder that even the most picture-perfect day can have a rotting negative curled behind the flash. Every lie has metadata. Every secret leaves shadows. And in the end, the camera never blinked. You'd be surprised how many people suddenly find neutral ground when the truth is too sharp to touch. That's what I learned in the weeks after the albums went out. People don't want justice. They want distance. Clean hands. The illusion of loyalty without any of the risk. I didn't fault them. That's just how humans are wired. But I kept receipts. Not because I planned to use them again. Because once you've been burned by a liar in white lace, you stop trusting anyone who doesn't come with timestamps. My inbox became a museum of reactions. Subject lines like, "Hey, about the album? Do you want to talk? She says it's not true." They were all fishing lines tossed into the water to see if I was still emotionally bleeding. I wasn't. I was already on the other side of it. Somewhere Taylor couldn't reach anymore. The irony? She always loved attention. But now she was finally the main character, and no one wanted front row seats. Not even her. Luca's lawsuit was the headline, but the side stories were better. Alina, his wife, wasn't just suing him, she was broadcasting it. Podcast interviews. Instagram lives. Even one painfully awkward TikTok where she held up one of the private prints, blurred for legal reasons, and said, "This was taken the night before the vows." Classy? No. The comments section was pure fire. Some people felt bad for Taylor. Others wanted her deported. But the real dagger came from Alina herself, 3 posts later, when she tagged Taylor directly. "You can steal a man. You just can't keep the clients." I nearly choked on my coffee when I saw it. Taylor blocked her. Didn't matter. The screenshots were already circulating. Luca's Yelp reviews turned into an accidental war zone. Someone even created a Google listing for wedding ruiner extraordinaire and attached one of the sunset photos, the ones with the wine glass, the robe, the broken vow. I didn't post it, but I smiled. Sometimes, karma doesn't need you to drive. You just leave the keys out. Taylor tried to claw her way back to normal. She posted a close-up selfie one day, captioned, "New beginnings herb #healing." Comments were off. No one cared. The week after, she reactivated her LinkedIn. New job title, creative strategist. New company, some vague boutique agency with 0 clients, a glitchy website, and a mailing address that traced back to a WeWork. I wasn't stalking her. But the truth has a way of sending you little updates, forwarded, shared, tagged by mutuals who still quietly root for you, even if they never say it out loud. One message stood out. From my cousin. She sent a letter to Grandma. Handwritten. Full-on apology. Trying to repair the damage. She even said you overreacted because you're hurt. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was classic. The reframe. The soft sell. The emotional PR campaign to recast me from wrong to unstable. She always did love storytelling. Problem was, I owned the narrative now. And her version? It didn't come with pictures. There's a moment in every story like this where someone asks, "What do you want? Closure? Revenge? Validation?" None of that. What I wanted, what I really wanted, was the quiet. The dead air after the lie detonates. That stillness when no one's pretending anymore. When the illusion's dead, the mask is off, and all that's left is silence. I got that. And then I got something else. An envelope. No return address. Inside? A printed photo. Not from our wedding. From the rehearsal dinner. Me. Standing alone under a string of lights. Hands in my pockets. Half smiling. Back when I still believed the next day meant something. On the back, in ink. "You deserved better." That's it. No signature. But the handwriting? Definitely not hers. I checked it again, held it up to the light. The paper was thick. Matte. Professional. I'd seen it before. Used by the company we hired for our wedding thank you cards. Which meant someone close. Maybe the planner. Maybe one of the assistants. Maybe even Luca's second shooter. Didn't matter. Whoever it was, they saw it. The rot behind the gloss. And they wanted me to know. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I was just the only one honest enough to light the match. That photo sits in a drawer now, next to the annulment certificate. Not as a keepsake. As evidence. That once, I let someone tell me a fairy tale, and I made sure the ending was true. Even if it meant rewriting every page myself. There's a kind of silence that isn't peaceful. It's surgical. Clean. Clinical. Like walking into a room that's been stripped down after a fire, no smoke left, no ashes, just that unsettling sense that something big happened here, and everyone's pretending it didn't. That was the vibe when I ran into her again. Taylor. Of all places, a fundraiser. One of those overpriced, over-decorated charity things where everyone's wearing shoes that hurt and pretending to care about an art program for inner-city kids they'll forget about by dessert. I wasn't even supposed to be there. A client had extra tickets. Dragged me along. I figured it'd be a free dinner and a few fake laughs before ghosting halfway through dessert. But then I saw her. Backless black dress. Wine glass in hand. Laughing too hard at something some real estate vampire was saying. And the moment she saw me, her laugh died mid-note. She didn't approach. She didn't wave. She just froze. For a beat. Like someone hit pause on a movie she wasn't ready to be in. I didn't blink. I didn't nod. I just looked at her like she was a stranger. Because she was. Whatever version of her I'd loved or thought I did, she was gone. Replaced by this. Polished ruin. All surface. No foundation. She left 5 minutes later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't finish her drink. Left a smear of lipstick on the rim and the kind of silence that follows you home. The next day, I got an email. Burner address. One line. I saw you. You look good. No name. But I knew. She wanted an opening. A thread she could pull. I didn't respond. I archived it. Then I opened the drawer, the one with the annulment papers, the photo, the flash drive labeled alt edits. Just to remind myself. Closure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the sound of not answering. The lawsuit moved forward. Alina wasn't bluffing. She had a legal team, press contacts, and more screenshots than a disgruntled Apple employee. The suit became public record. I didn't comment. Didn't need to. The court documents did the talking, a timeline of deceit so detailed it made our wedding itinerary look lazy. Luca tried to countersue. Claimed I'd weaponized private materials. His lawyer used phrases like invasion of privacy, intentional infliction, malicious defamation. I smiled reading it. Because here's the thing about privacy. If you hand someone a loaded camera and they aim it at themselves, you're not the shooter. You're the witness. And all I did. I showed the jury the footage. Friends reached out again. More than a few apologized. One sent me a long message about how they weren't sure who to believe at first, and how now they really respect how you handled everything. I read it. Deleted it. I wasn't interested in vindication. This wasn't about being right. It was about being done. And I was. Fully. Finally. Officially done. The grief, the anger, the need for anyone to understand, it was gone. In its place? A clean calendar. A quiet inbox. A new life with 0 shared passwords and no photos left to edit. A month later, a package showed up. No return address. Inside? One of the albums I'd sent out. Page corners bent. Cover a little scuffed. Like someone had flipped through it 100 times before deciding they couldn't stand to keep it. Tucked inside the front cover was a note. Folded once. Thick paper. It read, "You were never crazy. Just inconvenient. No signature. But again." I knew. Taylor's handwriting. Same sharp slant. Same way she curled her lowercase g. It was the closest she'd come to admitting anything. And even that was wrapped in ego. Not an apology. Not remorse. Just an acknowledgement that the truth made her uncomfortable. I dropped the album in the trash. Lit a match. Watched it burn until nothing was left but ash and the faint smell of smoke. Then I opened my laptop and started writing again. Not emails. Not revenge plans. Just words. Pages. A new story. One that didn't begin with a lie dressed in white. There's a difference between moving on and disappearing. Taylor never figured that out. She thought if she deleted the right photos, blocked enough people, switched jobs, changed cities, maybe even dyed her hair, that she could erase the version of herself that cheated with the wedding photographer in a Tuscan hotel room and got exposed in full color, frame by frame, in front of everyone she ever tried to impress. But the internet never forgets. And neither do people. You can mute a scandal. You can starve it of oxygen. But somewhere, someone still has a copy. Still tells the story. Still passes the album to a friend and says, "You won't believe what she did." It becomes legend. And in legend, there's no sympathy for the villain. Especially not one who smiled in every photo. The final stage of her downfall didn't come from me. It came from her own ambition. Because, bless her heart, Taylor still thought she could outbrand the truth. She started a blog. Of course she did. Reclaiming my narrative was the tagline. There were pastel fonts, candid photos with suspiciously curated lighting, and captions like, "When pain becomes purpose, we evolve." She told her version of the story in vague terms, didn't name me, or Luca, or the album, just referred to it all as a personal trauma and a targeted smear campaign by someone I once loved. It was laughable, so I didn't laugh. I just waited. Because when someone starts crafting their comeback, they always overreach. And eventually, she did. She posted an Instagram reel about healing through storytelling. It was mostly vague shots of wine, sunrise, her at a typewriter she didn't know how to use. But at the end, she slipped. She showed one of the pages from the album. Blurred, sure, but not enough. You could see her. In the robe, the glass, the mirror, the photo that said everything without a word. She captioned it. The picture that cost me everything and set me free. The comments poured in. Some supportive, some brutal, but one, in particular, stood out. From an account tagged at Elena Frames. Luca's ex-wife. Interesting you'd post a stolen photo from my property. Expect a letter. And that's exactly what happened. Elena had sued Taylor before. But this was public. Taylor had taken the bait. She'd reposted evidence from the very scandal she'd sworn wasn't real, admitted it cost her everything, and published it to over 12,000 followers. Defamation? Maybe not. Copyright infringement? Absolutely. And emotional distress? Elena was about to make her feel it. I didn't need to get involved. Didn't lift a finger. Just watched it unfold from the sidelines with the kind of detached curiosity usually reserved for car crashes. Taylor tried to spin it. Said it was fair use. That it was transformative. That she was using art as therapy. But the internet doesn't care about nuance. It just wants blood. And Elena? She knew exactly how to draw it. Meanwhile, I kept my distance. No public comments. No DMs. No retaliation. I didn't need to. My work was already done. The moment I sent those albums, I rewrote the story. Not just for myself, but for everyone she tried to fool. And now, even her attempts to control the narrative came with receipts she couldn't shred. Every time she tried to rise from the ashes, someone handed her the matchbook. It was brutal. It was poetic. And best of all, it wasn't mine to clean up. A few weeks after the lawsuit became public, I got a letter. Handwritten. Different handwriting. Elena. Short. Precise. Unsentimental. I thought you should know, we settled. I got the rights to all original files, including the ones she posted. I'm turning them into a gallery exhibit. The working title? The Truth in 35 millimeters. You'll be credited for curation. Unless you object, let me know. Or don't. Either way, thank you. I read it twice, then folded it neatly and placed it next to the others. The album may have burned, but the story? It was framed now. Literally. There are two kinds of endings, the ones that explode and the ones that evaporate. Taylor's ending did both. Exploded publicly. Evaporated privately. It happened fast and quietly, which was ironic considering how loud her life used to be. But when people run out of angles, there's nothing left to sell. No story left to spin. No audience left to lie to. The final blow came, fittingly, from the one place she never expected, the industry she once bragged she'd dominate before 30. The marketing agency she had scrambled into after our implosion, the one where she tried to rebrand herself with a new name, new haircut, new LinkedIn identity, dropped her. No press release. No emails. Just gone. Scrubbed. A few people messaged me the screenshots. Said her name had disappeared from the team page overnight. Others said she'd been asked to resign. Whatever the official line was, it didn't matter. She was radioactive. And not in the fun, Instagram influencer on a cleanse kind of way. No. She was nuclear. The album, the lawsuits, the screenshots, all of it had cemented her legacy. Not as a strategist. Not as a wife. Not even as a woman scorned. Just as a cautionary tale with good lighting. The gallery exhibit was real. Elena pulled it off. It opened in a tiny white-walled space in Florence, ironically, not far from where the original crime scene took place. The Truth in 35 millimeters wasn't a flashy event. No red carpets, no influencers. Just raw photos, curated like a postmortem of a wedding that never really happened. The robe shot made the cover of the pamphlet. My annulment paper was framed behind glass. The final room? A projection loop of the mirror photo, the one where Luca's watch gives everything away. Visitors just stared. Some asked questions. One woman cried. Elena said someone tried to buy the projection rights. I didn't go to the opening, but I donated a bottle of wine. Anonymous. Vintage, 2018, the year we met. The label read, pairs well with hindsight. The press picked it up. not major outlets. Just art blogs, relationship podcasts, TikTok narrators with soothing voices and chaotic stories. They dissected the exhibit. Some called it haunting. Others called it revenge porn with better framing. Everyone had an opinion, but no one questioned whether it was true. That was the power of the photos. Undeniable. Frame after frame of betrayal, frozen in high resolution. You can argue with words, but you can't argue with faces. Not when they're lit with guilt. Eventually, I started dating again. Nothing serious. Mostly coffee. Sometimes dinner. But I kept it simple. No big gestures. No matching Pinterest boards. No destination weddings. Just conversations. Honesty. Peace. You'd be surprised how addictive peace becomes after a war. Taylor reached out one more time. Blocked number. Voicemail. Her voice was different. Not broken. Not sorry. Just flat. She said she saw the exhibit. Said I had humiliated her forever. That her family couldn't look at her the same. That I won. Then she paused, sighed, and said something I didn't expect. I didn't think you had it in you. That made me smile. Because she was right. She didn't think I had it in me. And that's why she lost. Because she underestimated what quiet men do when you lie to their face and smile for the camera. We don't yell. We don't chase. We just wait for the flash. And then we develop the negatives. The album never really ended. It became a franchise. A modern folktale passed from phone to phone, whispered in bridal suites, screenshotted in group chats, told in third person because it's easier to digest that way. But I lived it. And I'd live it again. Not because I enjoyed it, but because it reminded me of one simple truth. Some people wear white to hide the mess. Others take the photo. And some of us? We build the darkroom, print the proof, mail it out, and walk away clean. The end. Subscribe to the channel